Guys, I'm excited to welcome you to a brand new series, Move by Move, where I'll be playing rapid games 10 plus 0 and will explain my thought process, and then after each game I'll show you how I analyze the game so that you can implement this strategy in your own, daily process when you play chess. So let's start by starting to looking for our first opponent, Search 007IO. So I usually play e4. I can play London system from time to time, but d4 is very rarely happens in my repertoire. So e4, c6. I don't really like playing against Garo, so in my childhood I used to play d4 and go in for this main lines with knight e4, bishop f5, but these days I prefer to play something like knight c3 more and play this two knights attack. And there are a bunch of lines. The main one is going like e takes e4, knight d4. This bishop g4 is something that I haven't analyzed a lot, so we'll probably go to Chessable after this game is finished and see what people do here. I think h3 is quite reasonable option, and after bishop h5 I think just maybe bishop e2, protecting the bishop on f3, and after bishop g6, e6, I think it's time to go for d4, take the center, so he will not push d4 at some point. It's actually a good point to think of. d4 is not possible here because knight d4 would have happened, and now I think something like knight e5 makes sense. Also simple bishop g5 makes a lot of sense as well. Yeah, knight e5 looks fine. Takes, queen f4, and then knight d7 we can probably go for some trades and then put bishop on d2 and go along castle. It's still quite not clear what I can come up with here, but okay, let's play knight e5. Let's put pieces active to the center, and now queen e2. In case of d takes e4, I'll play queen e4. This move I would probably consider bishop f4, because now knight e5 I would take with bishop, and then knight g6 is a move to consider. Maybe e takes d5 should be played afterwards. But yeah, knight e5, bishop e5, knight g6 looks pretty promising. Knight g6 right away doesn't make sense, because I think I can take on d5, and after c takes d5, knight d5 is possible. Because now I'm exploiting this pin, and after queen a5 I can simply go knight c3, and I think I'm just stuck upon quite, stupid mistake from the player of such level. I mean, yeah, my rating is quite low as well on chess.com in Rapid specifically, compared to my 26 Bullet and Blitz. But alright, here I'm just stuck upon. At some point I might even castle. Also some d5 ideas are in the air. And maybe I can just probably play something like a3, and if bishop c3 just take, and should not really worry about anything. And now knight b5 and c4 looks very good. Even simple castle makes a lot of sense. And then I just don't see how he can put problems to me, because now let's say knight b5 is played, queen b6, I can play c4, and then takes bishop c3. Like, I don't see anything bad for me. Let's just play knight b5. Maybe there is, but I still don't see how it's bad. Because let's say queen a6, pinion this, I can play c4 as far as I see. And then knight b6, I have knight d6, so he gotta be very careful. And now c4 looks very, very promising, as now c5 is being threatened. a6 I can just simply take, and then go bishop c3 and protect the pawns. Here I think bishop e3 makes a lot of sense, as after a6 I can simply go knight c3. He might try a6, knight c3 and queen c7, which I actually blundered, because apparently there is this weakness as well. But alright, this pawn loss is nothing crazy yet. Yeah, that's exactly what I forgot to think about. And now he'll take on c4, and I'll have no problem still, because I want to go queen f3. I want to press this pawn on b7, because b5 probably something like rook c1, and I want to push d5 at some point as well. But yeah, what I did basically what I should have done. We'll analyze it after the game as well. Probably just, you know, bishop b8, maybe bishop b4 and then rook c1. But yeah, I needed to be more careful with this, basically with this idea. This move I don't quite like, because now I think rook d1 is something that comes to my mind. And then, you know, also queen b7, because queen b7 takes queen d7. Knight d5 also looks very, very promising, because then it takes d4, knight d7, right? And then knight c8, and I'm not sure anymore. This, rook d4, knight d5, yeah, it looks very good as well, because rook d4, if queen goes to c7 trying to protect the knight, and knight d5. And you know, these knight jumps might be very, very annoying, so he gotta be very careful. This move I didn't even consider, because I thought it's gonna be bad, because I was considering knight d5 at this point, and that this might be quite good for me. Because, alright, let's say, because now d5, d takes a5, knight d5. Knight d5 myself, you know, threatening fork, but this might not end well. I also have some queen g4 potentially, you know, basically trying to attack this. And if queen b2, I have this knight d5 trick, trying to basically get to e7 fork. So very, very interesting approach. But I want to play queen g4, because, you know, queen b2, knight d5, he might plunder this. And if knight f6, knight f7, queen h4, and there are checkmate ideas as well. Yeah, he plays this move first, and that's something I was thinking about. So I would just consider something like queen h4, because now if takes takes, you know, I'll be threatening this, and if he ever takes on b2, which might actually happen right now, I might get myself in trouble, because, you know, maybe there is some knight a4 and knight c5, because this now looks very, very bad. Knight d4 with the trades are not gonna end well for me as well. Knight a4, then knight c5 doesn't make a lot of sense either. But maybe, you know, queen b3 takes, then knight c5. I don't know. Let's just put it into perspective. Knight a4, queen b5, then let's say have some d5 as well. Because, yeah, let's play knight a4, because I don't want to trade, obviously, because it will only benefit him. I need to keep pressure on the board. But queen b5, there is also, if I play d5, there is rook c4, which is kind of bad for me. And if takes, rook b1 afterwards, you know, yeah, I might create some counterplay. Because now bishop e5, he might not be careful enough and blunder, let's say bishop e5, that this queen from h4 protects this rook b1. And now I put pressure on this as well. If queen c6, queen c4 might follow as well, but I think I will come up with something like maybe even queen g5, or I'll have to trade and play something like knight b6. Yeah, looks very bad for me, and I'm also very, very bad on time as well. So the first episode is not going well so far, but let's check the after game analysis, because that's why we're here. But now, after bishop b6, I'm quite concerned about the whole queen thing, because now g5 looks like the only option. Unfortunately, I don't see anything else. Yeah, I mean, g5 is the only move, and then queen g5, queen a4, queen e5. I also gotta consider, because I don't have any other moves, so bishop a5, this, and then rook b7, this just looks awful. This move, queen g5, queen a4, queen f5, this, and then, you know, maybe queen g5 back, trying not to exploit this diagonal. It still looks... Unfortunately, I don't have a way to protect this, unless I find some very, very nice tactics, which I don't see at the moment. You know, queen g4 obviously doesn't really work. Oh wait, is it? Because look, queen g4, knight g4, bishop a5. This knight has to go back. If knight f6, I go rook b7, grabbing the pawn. So this looks promising. Do I have anything else? Queen g4, because look, if queen g5, queen a4, queen f5, queen a3, he still takes the pawn, so queen g4 might look very good, because queen b6, knight b6, knight g4, knight c8 have an up in exchange. If knight g4, bishop a5, this knight gotta go back, and I take on b7. Then, you know, we're equal, and I probably have some more initiative, because, yeah, he'll need some time to get to a3 pawn, and I can potentially take advantage of weak queen side. So, very interesting game so far. You can let me know in the comments what do you think. Am I playing well? I'm down to last 3 minutes 37 seconds, which is actually very bad, but I think if I'm able to grab a pawn on b7, I should be alright. And then also some rook d5, rook g5 ideas, so yeah, I'm quite active here. Yeah, it doesn't look too good here, as, you know, bishop and knight are not in the action yet, and this knight will have to do something to basically create some action, but yeah, so far I don't see how I can do anything. Because yeah, now rook c2, and at some point this might follow. Let's say bishop b4, and then, you know, knight e4 is, yeah, he has some activity for sure, but who knows what might be beneficial for me or him. This takes. I'm trying to trade and also take advantage of this weakness on g5, potential weakness on g5. If g4, I think h4, if knight e4, bishop d4, bishop e3. So I need to put my bishop to e3 to avoid this, you know, bishop d4, maybe even king f1 is good for now. And if knight e4, I'll have to move this back to e1. Looks passive, I know, but I have nothing better than this. Yeah, and my, you know, also I have some rook b4 at some point. So if he's not careful, if he plays rook c8, rook b4 might be very, very annoying, because rook d8 is what's gonna be played probably. But yeah, I have problems with this knight for sure, because I'm not able to use it to full potential. Maybe f3 at some point might be very, very good. Yeah, g5 weakness. I have a better pawn structure. He is down to 4 minutes to his last 5 minutes basically. f3 looks good. Maybe rook b3 looks promising as well. What I can come up with is maybe something like rook b4, which doesn't look too bad, because, you know, then rook c4, because rook c4 is the thing to wonder, because there are some tricks, bishop f to knight d2, they don't really work right now, but they might at some point. So very, very interesting. It becomes interesting here. Bishop c3, knight c3, and then takes, rook d3, rook c4, and then maintain, you know, this little ledge. Probably again doesn't do anything bad or good for me or him. And meanwhile, it's move 39. And yeah, the games in this episode probably is gonna be very long, unless it's a very quick game. But yeah, because then, you know, I'll have to do the game analysis afterwards. So it's always gonna be quite a good amount of material for you guys. Rook c4. And now I'll try to basically equalize on time, because still I want to use this weakness. King e2 is an idea. If king e2 is played and then I manage to play rook c6, I should be good. Also my knight blocks d5 and e4 squares. So this game, this endgame specifically, should be more or less equal, because I don't see how I can take advantage. Rook d6 now, rook c8, and then probably rook c5. Now trying to take g5 pawn. If rook e6, I think in f1, and I should be alright, considering that I'm about to take this pawn on g5, and knight h7 might be the only move to protect it, and then f6, but it looks very, very passive. So yeah, he plays this, and now probably just simple this, knight d5, king e6, knight f4, and I'm, you know, slowly taking the initiative, even though he got rid of this pawn. Maybe I should have played h4 after all, but let's see the after game analysis. Rook c7 is not a move right now. Knight f4 is, because then rook g5 is an idea to grab either g7 or g4 knight, and he'll have to go back. He can't really get to a3 pawn, and this is what I really like about my position so far. Because, you know, I might actually, you know, go for, you know, a6 pawn. He plays this move, which makes a lot of sense. And now maybe knight d3, not letting him go to e5. Because now rook d5 was bad. Because I don't want to go to, you know, simple endgame. I want to still pose some problems for him. And now knight c5 is a threat, actually. So he gotta be very careful. And also rook a6, knight c5, knight a6. King f3. Knight e5 takes, because rook e5. Knight, you gotta be careful, because now knight c5 is also a threat. Because knight e5, rook e5. Take on a6 first, and then on a7 is a threat. So might be very annoying, and he's down to 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Which is good for me, but this fork is really annoying. And rook a6 is also kind of threatening, more or less. But knight f5, king f4 takes. And now if takes e5, king f4 looks very good. Because now I keep an eye on this. If rook f6 happens, I just play f3 and then protect and take on e5. This is a huge weakness. Probably computer can still hold it, but I just don't think it is possible. Because one of the pawns will be taken eventually. No, this is a potential weakness as well. If I manage to create two pass pawns on kingside, it's just over. Yeah, guys, I'm sorry for a very long episode. G5. Now if takes is just a very simple winning pawn endgame. This rook a5, just go back for now, and then start pushing my pawns here. And now rook g5. If rook b3, I can still maintain this. Rook g7, rook g6, and then king d5, a4. King a5, just I'll start pushing my pawns here as well. Oh, but now it's just an easy endgame win, because basically I have two pass pawns. And this is just... I can just restrict the king on d file to cut the king off the board. And then slowly before king g5. And that'll be basically get rid of checks and then slowly push my pawns further to the edge of the board and win the game. That's the first win. And now let's jump quickly to the analysis. Guys, quick analysis after the game. So as I said, I will analyze the opening itself. So here, you know, I looked into the Adiban scores on Chessable, on e4 repertoire. I played h3, which is the right move, but after bishop h5, I played bishop e2, which is a slight inaccuracy. I should have played e takes d5 first, take the pawn on d5, and after c takes d5, there are two lines which Adiban analyzes. One of them is g4, bishop g6, knight d5, knight c6, d4, e6, and h4, and white are taking the initiative, and one of them is an absolute nonsense. I'm not even remember what is this, but it's just to give up this pawn on g6. Actually, let me show you what he suggests. So as you can see on the board, bishop g4, bishop h5, takes, g4, bishop g6, knight d5, knight c6, d4, and now f6, not e6, but f6 to get this knight away from e5, and takes, queen d3. And the idea is to castle long, and white have no problems from the opening. But instead, alright, I played slight inaccuracy move bishop e2, and after bishop e6, black are completely fine. So it was all good. Knight g6, I had small, you know, advantage. I mean, I took the pawn and it looked like I'm completely winning. Even the, you know, engine was kind of liking my position a lot. Bishop d6, first blunder. Here I should have gone knight b5 right away, because now after queen b6 takes, there is bishop b4, and I take an exchange on f8, and I would have probably won the game quite easier. So rook a8, knight b5 now is still alright, and here again I had this knight d6 and bishop b4, and you know, I'm telling you this episode is master explains move by move, but didn't look like a master was playing with white. Bishop e3 and a6, knight c3 was bad, because now I should have played d5 to avoid this queen c7, queen c4. but knight c3, queen c7, and as I said here, you know, it was more or less equal. I was trying to get some chances. Knight f6, queen h4, queen b2, knight a4. Knight e4 was actually a better move at this point, but right, knight a4, queen b5 takes, rook b1. So here after g takes 5, rook c4 is actually a much better move. So bishop e5, rook b1, queen a5, blunder, bishop b6, g5, and here I played the best queen g4 move. As I said, you know, I gotta use the advantage of my rook on b1, and so bishop a5, knight f6, and this game was equal, but I was lucky that he made some mistake. So here king f1 was a mistake by me because he had bishop f2, and after king f2 there is knight e4, and I have to go either this or this, because if I go king e1 there is discovered knight c5 or knight d6, and he takes the rook. So he didn't see it. So that's one of the tactics, you know, to look for. You know, you have this idea, you know, potential candidate move on f2, then on e4, some forks. You always gotta consider all captures and attacks. So knight e4 was played instead, bishop e1, rook d8, rook b4, knight f6, and as I said, you know, I didn't really risk anything. He had this weakness on g4. I probably could have gone for rook g5 right away, but I don't think it's any good because even rook g6 is possible. But alright, king d7, knight f4, f6, knight d3, rook a5, and here he started kind of collapsing. After knight f4, you know, I'm getting to the winning rook endgame, and slowly, of course, you know, there is nothing black can do, and soon, of course, you saw all of that. He resigned. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the game, you enjoyed the analysis. Let me know any suggestions you have. Maybe I should put, you know, this whole analysis tab somewhere on the right, so you can not only see this analysis but also see, you know, the valuation bar. But just let me know in the comment section below. I'll see you in the next episodes. Bye bye.